I think, but yeah, like we just said, it kind of removes those the stakes of the film or the character.
And I think that they chose to do that stylistically, so we get this sense that she is top of the food chain, that she is, even toying with like the CIA and the KGB, and like she's ahead, one step ahead of everyone. And I feel like that's what they're leaning towards, showing us that is that she gives zero fucks about anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
in that way I can appreciate it, but I would have liked to. I wonder what kind of movie it would have been had we not gotten that, I guess that little arch in the story.
I was going to bring up McAvoy. I can't remember what I was going to bring up about him, but I'll just talk about him because I can't remember what I was going to say. But I definitely enjoyed his character because he was he felt like that, kind of like the loose cannon, or like a wild card where you weren't really sure where his allegiance lied throughout the film, because he was kind of so shady, and she was already catching him on so many lies, and he just didn't. I loved his performance in this. He just seemed like some kind of like a weasel.
Yeah, and then like aesthetically, he doesn't, like, he was like an officer or somebody big that, like you said, he got just swept up into that life, but he looks like a hooligan
Yeah,
type. You know what I mean? And you're not sure, he's likable, but you're not sure what his intentions are, and he's constantly seeming like he's trying to low key fuck over everybody, including Lorraine. So then you just like, you're scared for her and hoping that she knows better, and fortunately for her, she does get the drop on him in the craziest way, but
yep, yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think he was a big, because it's I would say largely through this movie it's Lorraine and Percival, which is James McAvoy. It's about them and the struggle for kind of getting this list and for power. It's about deception and who's gonna outsmart the other one first, essentially. And going back to like the forward thinking messages in this, he underestimates Lorraine despite him knowing what she is capable of, and they really kind of personify that in that really quick scene with him and John Goodman, who represents the CIA, where we find out that he's kind of they're working together, and that at this point he's already set up Lorraine to be killed, and then John Goodman's character tells him, Percival, that that she's made it out, that she's okay, and then he's just kind of laughs after kind of getting upset for a bit, and he's like, women always getting in the way of progress.
Yeah. I was just going to bring that up, but I couldn't remember the line, so I didn't want to try to regurgitate that from memory. But yes, I totally forgot about that, and then rewatching it the other day, I'm like, man, what an asshole. But then again, you have to think, back then, that was such a common thought, frame of mind for men back then. Even, sad to say, even some now still, but a majority of men back then were kind of on that train of misogynistic views.
Definitely. But it kind of inevitably does him in the end.
Yeah, he gets his comeuppance,
Definitely.
Oh man, it was such a good payoff too. I love how he kind of thought he got one over on her. He thought he was getting out, and man, she had a quicker draw. It was it was so good. I just loved the pictures that Delphine leaves for him, because she is so aware of she's really aware of who he is as a person, because she even threatens him. She's like, I know who you are, or I know what you do. She had been, tailing him, I guess, throughout the previous to Lorraine arriving. So, yeah, I think he was the one who set up James to get killed, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, he had been working this out way before that. But yeah, and I do like Sophia's character, Delphine. Like I said, I love that she was kind of in the same, she was the same as Lorraine, but way earlier in her career than Lorraine was, because she was, I've only been doing this for a year. I thought it would be fun, and now she's like, I'm scared for my life. You get to see kind of the rookie and the veteran, and how the differences are in thought process, and how inexperienced Delphine is.
Yeah, for Sophia's character, Delphine, I just felt she did a great job, but she was a bit underused. I feel like we could have seen more from her, but what we did get was fantastic, and the chemistry between her and Lorraine, who kind of developed this like little kind of fling thing, even though it's kind of they both are kind of using each other for information, so it's like you're not sure how if it's real chemistry, or if it's just I'm doing what I gotta do in order to survive, in order to move on with what I have to do here in my mission.
Mm-hmm.
So that's multi-layered. It was sad when, even though it's going back to Percival McAvoy's character, Delphine basically threatens him. He doesn't like that, and he goes to kill her, and unfortunately succeeds before Lorraine is able to help. And it's pretty graphic. Delphine gets pretty much strangled to death, but she puts up a great fight. There's a great knife scene that she just and kind of annihilates him with.
Yeah, that's what I love about that. It wasn't just she wasn't just like a helpless woman. She did put up a fight. They did give her that honor, I guess you would say, in that fight. And yeah, it was pretty gruesome to see that that happen. But again, like you said, it was a great fight though as well.
It was. And then there's that little, she like it looks like some kind of like a letter opener or something.
Yeah.
She stabs him in the back with it, and he can't reach all the way back. And so he like ends up throwing himself against the wall, and the knife goes in even more.
Yeah, that was so hilarious, because like it's in that perfect spot where either way he can't grab it, so he's like there for like 5 minutes trying to pull it out of his back.
Yeah, so it just brings up this crazy kind of tension where you're wondering if she's going to be able to get the energy to do something, and and just a few, maybe like a minute more, and Lorraine would have been there. But I guess it is what it is. There has to be casualties in a film like this.
Yeah, that's what killed me. I was like, oh my god, Lorraine's right. She's there at the door, buzzing, trying to get in. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, just break the door down and go up. Come on.
And then somebody comes out, and she's smart enough to go up and go in, and then, she knocks, and McAvoy kind of like squirms out of the window.
Yeah.
But she knows exactly that it was him immediately.
Yeah.
Did you ever, when this came out, or when they were promoting it for Comic-Con, did you ever get the glasses?
No, I don't think I got the glasses.
So they had women dressed up as Lorraine or Charlize Theron in the film. So they had like the blonde wigs with the bangs and glasses, and that kind of trench coat look, and they were handing out they're handing out the soundtrack on cassette.
Oh, it's so cool.
Which I have one, and then they had these kind of Ray-Ban style glasses with Atomic Blonde on the arm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it was free, but you had to be kind of run into the ladies.
Oh my god, that's so cool. Yeah, I think I remember you telling me about that. Now that you're saying that, you're bringing it up.
Yeah,
I remember you telling me like, oh yeah, there's a cassette and everything. I'm like, what the fuck? Why did they have a cassette for?
because it's the 80s, man.
Yeah, I know, but I'm like, who's like in my head? I'm like, who has a cassette player still? But just to have it is like kick ass. Just to have that.
Yeah, especially like think about. I'm sure that's got to be worth money now that they don't. I'm sure they printed on those only for the for that event. So imagine having one.
So cool.
Also, if you don't have, for anybody who's listening to this, and if you're a fan of soundtracks, you should be able to get this. Mondo released this soundtrack on vinyl, obviously. So if you're interested in soundtracks and you don't have it already, you should really, really seek that out.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it slaps all day, like banger after banger after banger. It's crazy.
I know, it's so good. It, like I said, it works with the movie so well, like perfectly.
Also, you kind of glossed over it, but at the end, when we think that she was secretly working with the KGB, she meets up with him a couple days after, the events, and he basically is like, oh, Percival told me who you are, and then like all of this guy, this guy's bodyguards, Bromovich, I think his name is, or something like that. And all of his guys come into this hotel room, and they basically start pulling out their silencers, and they have like a body bag tarp thing.
Yeah.
And they literally tell her, one guy's like, be a professional and come get on the bag or something.
Yeah, that was it. I love that line.
And and then she reaches into like the bucket of ice, the wine ice box, whatever you want to call it, and she has a pistol hidden because she had obviously set this up for this to happen, and just completely murks everybody in that room.
Yes. One thing I want to bring up, I love how he's kind of glossed over a lot in this, but Bill Skarsgård's character, he kind of is a huge key to Lorraine, pretty much almost succeeding if it wasn't for Percival shooting Spyglass. They would have gotten through with it, but he's the guy who's like, he's the guy you want to know to get things done, but he's kind of that unsung hero that's not really, I feel like, not mentioned a lot, because he's in and out of the movie so much that you don't really like see him. And then we get that little glimpse of him at the end when Charlize is walking out of the room covered in blood, and she walks into the elevator, and him and a couple of his other people are standing out there as bellhops and cleaning ladies, and he kind of looks at her like with a face of like, oh man, like, I gotta clean all this up now. And then he just nods his head over to the cleaning ladies like, oh, let's go in the room, and they can go in there to to basically like a cleanup crew. But he's a well used character, but he's not. I don't think he's seen as what he really is in the movie. Yeah. For most people.
Yeah, like I mean, that big thing that happens, her, when the whole thing happens with Spyglass, you have to think about, she went through a checkpoint to even get there. And they told her the guard was really standoffish, and he's like, hey, if you're not back by 6 p.m., you're going to be arrested. And
yeah.
she's like, okay. And then by this time, her covers blowing.